It's Monday, February 25th, 2013. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights Tonight. Because of all you haters, we're talking about augmented reality in light of Google Glass. And a super long intro bit just to make Scott mad.
I was about to comment on the super long intro bit, and now I'm making it longer. Let's do this.
You know, Scott, what they say, if you wrestle with a pig, you only make the pig happy and you get just as muddy.
I think what they say is, if you let Rim know the thing he does that bothers you, he will do it nonstop.
But it's a catch-22. For if you do not let me know that it bothers you, then I will keep doing it because that's what I do. And if you let me know, I'll keep doing it because that's what I do.
But you'll do it in a more goading fashion.
So in fact, the more you express disdain or criticism for a thing I do that you don't like, the more I'll do it. If you just never complain, I'll still do it, but at a baseline manageable level.
There's only one solution. Instead of letting Rim know that the thing bothers you, you must do something that bothers him whenever he does something that bothers you.
Except the only thing you ever do that I can even think of.
And eventually you can reverse Pavlov's dog him.
The best thing I've ever had Scott do is whenever we're ready to start like a video or a show or anything, he'll just sit there going like, bop, 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 bop. So I don't have a clean start, and then I have to do some editing bullshit when we actually...
No.
It's too late, we're already recording.
It doesn't matter.
So I went skiing over the weekend, and I feel like I'm stepping up my ski game to a big degree. But I saw something kind of funny. So you saw that South Park episode about zip lining, right?
Yep.
You ever been zip lining?
I mean, yeah, but not like that, super zip lining, but like normal, like, oh, there's one zip line. I went down it.
Okay, so, but basically, like, I went zip lining with Emily in Costa Rica, but that was awesome because that was basically the only way to go through the rainforest and see all the inside business without hurting anything. So that was just like crazy and awesome. But ziplining pretty much anywhere else is exactly like that South Park episode. It's just stupid. So at Hunter Mountain, where I go skiing every weekend, they have zipline tours. I can't imagine those people terribly appreciated that South Park episode. I actually would expect that it hurt their business at least a little. But I was standing in line to go up the big lift up to the top of the mountain, and they stop it because 6 zipliners are going to take the lift up to do their ziplining thing on the ski mountain. So they stop the lift because you can't get on a lift that's moving unless you're in skis or something. And these guys walk over and they sit down. What I saw that was interesting was that 5 out of 6 of them had GoPros.
Okay.
In fact, I would say that a full quarter of the people skiing had a GoPro on them, and easily a third of those people had the newest GoPro. If GoPro sold stock, I would buy all of it.
I don't know why they didn't sell it before when I had that idea months ago.
I know exactly why. Because it sucks to be a public company in the modern world. If I own a company, I will never go public.
But it's such a no-brainer to make mad money for me without having to do any work. Just buy GoPro stock.
Exactly. Thus the problem. It does not help them. It gives them a pile of money and a pile of obligations.
Dude, with that pile of money, they can come out with like an even crazier GoPro that would be so insanely good.
That's, in my opinion, that's what's wrong with our entire economy right now. If I have a company, like a video game company, and I make enough money to pay all my employees really well and keep doing what I'm doing and maybe do some things that I want to do that won't be profitable, that's all I want. I don't need more. I'd be happy to have a video game studio that could pay everyone enough to live in New York and have reasonable vacation time. That's all I want. But yeah, I skied, leveled up. I'm feeling good. They told me I have to take this one kind of special lesson, and they were very clear. The instructor was like, look, you've kind of hit the top of how these sort of group lessons go. So come back and tell them you need this. And she handed me a piece of paper and wrote a thing on it. And she's like, if you ski every weekend for the rest of the year and you come back and ask for that lesson, you will be a semi-professional skier. And I was very proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I'm just tooting my own horn. I was waiting for you to jump in with your own opening bit anecdote for today.
Well, I just wanted to let everyone, fully bask in how full of yourself you are. So,
you wanna bask?
Your opening bit was basically, I am so great.
I am.
Okay.
More importantly, do any of you listeners live in this area and want to go ski with me?
So at work today, some coworkers were talking. I wasn't really paying attention, but a guy said non-burrito, and I was like,
Wait, non-burrito? Like not a burrito?
Non as in the bread you get at an Indian restaurant. And I was like, hey, that sounds pretty good. You think I could put my leftover taco meat, which I have in the fridge right now, inside of a naan? Because I could just go down to Roti Boti and get a fresh naan.
Now, I am quite the advocate of breaking the shackles of expected uses of food.
Right, so they were like, no, naan burritos when you put Indian food in the naan and then roll it up like a burrito. And I was like, oh.
You know, that's a great analogy for the topic of the show, because think about it. They came up with a great concept, use naan in a non-standard format. Get it? Non-standard?
I think that they were discussing a place that actually served the Indian food in the naan as in burrito
So like an
fashion.
Indian banh mi.
I don't know, but anyway, it was called a naan burrito wherever they got it from. So, but they didn't get it here. They're talking about having it somewhere else, and I was like, man, should I just put my taco meat in a naan? And they were like, no, you shouldn't do that.
But see, that's the thing. They recognize the potential utility of naan.
Yep.
But yet they cannot break outside of the naan box.
I'm gonna have to buy a bag of cheese.
They
though,
cannot
at the grocery.
imagine far forward enough. They're like, yeah, what if I take the naan and I put the Indian food in it, like a quesadilla, but Indian? That'll be awesome. And then you suggest, why don't I just put something else? They're like, no, you haven't played God.
You haven't played gods. Well, I don't know if I am gonna play gods, because the thing is, I'll probably do that eventually, but I don't know if I'll do it tonight, and only for one reason.
I've never successfully reheated a naan, for what it's worth.
Okay, is because I bought this package of corn tortillas, the little ones.
And you got to use them up.
I got to use them up, but the thing is, they fucking suck. Like, they fell apart. I heated them up, and I put the meat in them, and then, boop, the meat went straight through.
I have a policy.
I might have to double them up.
I, in my life, have a policy now on corn tortillas.
Yep.
So my policy is I will only use a corn tortilla in something I'm cooking if I fry it in a pan. I'm not just going to steam it or heat it up. I'm either going to fry it or I'm using flour.
Listen, I would have wanted to buy flour ones. They didn't have any of the ones I wanted.
What? What kind of jank-ass grocery store are you going to?
The one next to my house.
I mean, I had a problem buying stuff yesterday, but at least what I was trying to buy was weird. I was trying to buy vegan cream cheese, and let me tell you.
Why did you want vegan cream cheese?
Don't ask.
Okay.
It is
You're
not easy to
vegan.
find.
What is even in vegan cream cheese?
You know what?
Cream.
I did not know.
Or cheese.
I was partially curious as I asked to the manager of this grocery store, excuse me, do you carry vegan cream cheese? My mind immediately said, how could such a thing be? And the manager's like, vegan cream cheese?
Is it just called hummus? I mean, what would you call it? Right?
So it exists.
Okay.
And we acquired some, but not at the grocery store.
What's it made of?
As far as I can tell, oils
It's
of
just
various
oil.
kinds.
Okay.
Anyway.
So it's margarine.
It's more like, I haven't even looked at it yet, but it
It's
came in a
whipped
weird
margarine.
box.
I mean,
But at
with
least
sugar
that's,
in it? I
at
don't know.
least that is weird. Flour tortillas are in like the key food in Beacon. I mean,
they're in. Yeah, the Key Food always has everything. But I was trying to go to the C-Town next to my house. Anyway, so yeah.
But they have corn tortillas, but not flour. I feel like in America, more people eat
They've
flour
had them
tortillas.
before. They just didn't sell them. They didn't have them in stock at that moment, and they had so many corn ones.
Actually, guys, there's a thread in our forum about moving to New York City. That's one thing you really need to realize if you move here. If you live anywhere else in the country, go to a grocery store, the idea that they're out of something is crazy. It's like, what do you mean they're out of milk? But yet in New York, I mean, grocery stores sell out.
Right, they're not. There's no supermarket that has everything. Right, you're going to a regular grocery.
It only
it's
has
not
like
super.
30 gallons of milk. If someone buys a bunch, there just isn't any till the next day.
Yeah, they get deliveries so often. They're not giant mega groceries that have trucks full of food showing up every day, and each individual one doesn't have enough customer. So that's how it goes. All right.
News.
So there was this guy in Australia. His name was Super DAE.
Oh, is that the guy who hacked the encryption key on the PS3?
No.
Okay.
That was that's another guy who is going to school at CMU.
Is that the guy that Totillo just wrote an article about?
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about a different guy.
Yeah. The guy who Totilla wrote an article about is the guy I'm talking about.
Okay, so then I mistook the guy he wrote an article about with a different guy.
That's right.
Okay.
The guy he wrote the article about is Super DAE, Australian guy, and what he did is
is his name Super DAE Australian guy? All one word?
I think his actual name does start with a D. It's in the article.
No, but is
somewhere.
Australian guy in his name?
No.
Because you didn't make that clear.
No, it's not.
This is why the Oxford comma is anyway.
But anyway, this guy basically, quote unquote, hacked various video game companies. Oh, Dylan's his name. So Dylan, that's easier to remember than Super DAE. Of course, like I remembered Super DAE first. He hacked into, for example, like Epic, the Gears of War company, and Microsoft, and the exact extent of his hacking is unclear, and the methods of his hacking. I hate calling it hacking when all it is you got someone's password. And it seems like he basically got people's passwords or email accounts who work at these places.
Well, you know what we need? We need
and
a
was
level...
able to log into various systems, including the system that lets you just buy dev kits, right? Because imagine if you work at some company that makes Xbox games. There's a website you can go to buy Xbox development hardware and software that you have to log into after you become a registered official Microsoft Xbox developer and sign an NDA and all these contracts. They give you a login on that site. Since he hacked into or got, login credentials from the video game developers networks, he was able to get that other information. And he just had like Xbox and PlayStation dev kits sent to his house. He just bought them. And, the exact extent of what he was able to do is not clear. It doesn't seem like he was evil, and it seems like some of the companies even, liked him for just telling them how he got in, and, they patched up the vulnerabilities he told them about. But looks like he went a little step too far, and the FBI went over there, and the Australians cooperated, and they snatched him up, all his stuff. But
Come on, Australia.
It doesn't seem like
doesn't
seem like he's in jail, but they took all his shit. So
that's actually when it in general to really zoom out when it comes to computer quote unquote crime, especially in the United States. Pretty much the worst thing they can do to you is the thing they always do, even if you're found innocent, which is take all your shit and never give it back.
Yep. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Search and seizure.
Anyway, so is that it? Just a cool article?
Yeah, you should read this, to see like, you can, because the reason we know this guy was legit is because he wrote all this stuff about what's going to be in the PS4, and he was really right on target.
Yeah, 2 butts.
So anything he has to say about the Xbox 48720, probably also right on target.
Stay on target.
Stay on target.
So, in another kind of interesting and open-ended bit, Scott showed me this article, and I was puzzling through it to
we still haven't really figured it out.
So, independently, Scott and I have been having trouble with YouTube lately.
Yep.
As many people have.
It used to be in the olden days when you tried to go to YouTube, even not in the RIT days, that doesn't count with our OC3s, right?
Oh my God, I miss those days.
But when we had like Cablevision and Beacon, you can go to YouTube, you could push pause, and the video would completely load pretty quickly, and then you would push play.
Now, when I first moved to New York City, I had Verizon Fios. So I would pick a 1080p, like 45-minute long video, and the whole thing would just buffer in like a minute and just be ready to rock 1080p.
Yes, this isn't like 09, 010.
In the last few weeks, YouTube's been
I think in the last year and a half.
See, now that's interesting because for me, YouTube has been just infinitely perfect and fast.
No, we've had YouTube problems here intermittently.
For very short periods of time until the last several weeks. So maybe the last 4 or 5 weeks, YouTube has gotten increasingly slow, and I've had increasing problems here that I never had before. Despite the fact that I have basically infinite bandwidth, and while YouTube will just fucking come to a halt, any other video site is still streaming 1080p just fine. Netflix, perfect 1080p just fine. It's just YouTube.
Yeah, even at my house, like sometimes YouTube, you get the spinny, but Netflix always plays 1080p just fine, and I don't have Fios.
Now, this article is specific to Time Warner, and based on anecdotal testing that Scott and I have conducted, it appears to have an effect if you are a Time Warner customer, but not on Fios.
Well, it's, we've done 2 tests, right?
Yes.
It's not much.
Hence I said anecdotal evidence, just the 2 of us.
Right, but anyway, and that was, you only did the test once. But basically...
And you use my wireless network, which you claim has problems anyway.
Here's the thing, is there's a thing you can do that works. We don't know why it works, and we don't know how, when and where it works. It works sometimes and not other times. And we're not sure what the real problem is, and there's some people are claiming things that they don't have evidence for because it sometimes works. And it's weird.
So I did some investigation, and I tried to kind of chart it out, and all I will say is this. It is feasible that this would work, that a thing like this would have the intended effect. It is also feasible that I can explain why, and I've come up with 3 or 4 sort of high-level scenarios where this would be the case. But anecdotally, it seems to work. anecdotally, completely shooting from the hip, I am making no claim to back this up at all. This is pure, rampant, abject conjecture. The Time Warner cable is probably, possibly, maybe, with no evidence on my part at all, don't sue me for libel or slander, throttling the YouTube CDN.
I think it's more, here's the real thing, right? Is like a lot of the explanations we come up with would mean that Google is doing something that is not optimal and has been doing it for a while, which is hard to believe.
Half of them would imply that ISPs and peering arrangements are causing the problems. Well, no, a third of them. The 3/3 I can come up with are Google's internal CDN, peering internet bullshit, which may or may not involve the lower level ISPs,
But Google
or DNS shenanigans causing weird asymmetric routes.
I don't think there's any DNS shenanigans.
There very well could be. In fact, I ran into a complication because you see, when I was at RIT,
Because I'm using Google DNS. I'm not using Time Warner DNS.
yes, now there were reports in the early days of Google DNS that would actually slow down your YouTube.
Oh, why would Google using Google DNS slow down Google YouTube?
Because your ISP's DNS could, for example, be set to automatically redirect you first to the IPs of the nearest CDNs. But a global, like OpenDNS?
But I thought that the Google OpenDNS is clever to know where you're coming from and thus will give you different answers.
But you can only be clever so far.
I think it's Google. It's about as clever as it can be.
It's hard to say. DNS also is an ancient protocol.
Google is also
But here's what I ran into.
genius.
Just to give you some clarity on my old age. When I was at RIT, the beginnings of IPv6 were becoming available for, initial testing. And I had an account on the old 6bone, which was the sort of test internet for IPv6. And yeah, IPv6 is not commonly used. Unless you're an IT dude who's deep into networking, you don't really run into it. And I did a domain lookup to play with some of this stuff last night and try to rationalize my theories.
You trying to do IPv6 YouTube?
No, I just did a lookup and I got all these IPv6 addresses. I was like, what the oh, right, IPv6 exists. And I had to remember all the weird details of how IPv6 resolves addresses.
Yep.
That's a separate thing. Little known fact. Do you know what the DNS record is for an IPv6 address? Forward lookup?
Oh, it's not A?
That's not A.
Is it B?
No.
That's a good guess.
That's a pretty good guess.
How about P?
You will never guess.
Is it F? Because F is the 6th letter of the alphabet?
No.
No.
Do you know other kinds of records?
C name?
All right. So
MX?
CNAME is a whole word, basically, as opposed to just A.
MX?
So,
TXT?
yep. PDR? PTR is one of the most important records you can write.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's A.
Awesome. It's not even 6 A's.
It's just 4 A's. You know why it's 4 A's? We'll leave that as Geeknights trivia. I dare anyone.
It's 4 times as many bits
Ah.
as an A record.
Anyway.
It's 4 A records, number of bits.
The best I can say, and I'm trying to not say a lot, is that based on my knowledge of networks, and it's one of the few areas in technology where I know a lot more than Scott. There aren't that many. Scott's a better coder than me and all sorts of things, but this is one area I got. It is feasible that this works. I can come up with reasons why. I cannot prove without a lot of work on my part if any of them are actually why. And it'll be difficult to prove beyond any reasonable
It's tough
doubt.
to even tell if it's working when you use it. So what you got to do is if your YouTube is sucking, try to do this and turn it on and off and try different videos a whole bunch. And
No, more importantly, try
use a
this.
stopwatch to see how fast they load.
Try this, come up with some method, and tell us the results, because I brought this up as a news, even though Scott's the one who showed it to me primarily, because I'm going to investigate this to the extent of my ability.
Mm-hmm.
Because
some investigative reporting
there's
here.
too much anecdotal evidence that it works, and I'm frankly pissed off that YouTube doesn't work that well anymore on Fios.
That's right. And the thing is, when I did enable this at my house, YouTube was so fast, 1080p, the gray bar was literally running away from the play dot, whereas before the spinny was there. So, yeah.
So things of the day. Apparently it was Margarita Week, one of those fake holiday
Is
marketing
sangria
things.
in any way related to a margarita? I know Mexican restaurants serve both.
Not at all.
I saw some sangria at the grocery store today in this really nice jug.
That's got to be awful.
And I was thinking, man, I wonder if Rim will drink that so I can get the nice jug.
No.
No?
You realize you can just buy jugs on Amazon. Really nice ones.
That's a good idea.
If you want a particularly good jug that has a nice stopper, search for a growler.
I want a jug that's got 3 X's on the side, and then I want to put
I have
water in
seen
it.
growlers that have 3 X's on the side.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Now, if you want a clay jug, you know, the hoot, 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 hoot. That's
Well,
a different kind.
I would buy that at the music store.
They don't sell those at the music store.
I'm sure they do. They sell wood blocks.
They also don't sell washboards at the music store.
And they sell tambourines. They might as well fucking sell a jug.
All I can think of is the Homer Simpson and Lisa with the hootin'. So this is a perfectly serious video on how to make a perfectly excellent margarita.
You use margarita mix in the freezer?
This video is truth in a Daryl Saratian sense.
No.
There's this moment. Basically, it's a parody video. You're going to watch it. If you actually try to do what this video says, you're going to get sick. Don't do it.
If you try to make a margarita, you're going to get sick.
Now,
even
the
if you do it
joke
the right
is,
way.
the reason I say that is a joke, because the first step is to take a shot of grappa.
What's grappa?
You would not like grappa.
No kidding.
Most people do not like grappa. I love grappa.
You love, of course. Anything is bad. Rim, how do you like the liver and onions?
Disgusting. I hate liver and onions. Oh my God. Don't even.
Because you seem to like nasty things that no one likes.
So this video is truth because the instructions say something to the effect of, you need 1 bottle of tequila, 1 bottle of gross old triple sec, because triple sec is the bottle of gross old liquor, much like that peppermint schnapps at Skojo's house.
Or that yellow shit you used to make a Harvey Wallbanger.
Harvey Wallbanger.
Your favorite?
Your dad's favorite.
I don't think
I could get some of that and we could make a Harvey Wallbanger.
That's all you.
Want to have a Harvey Wallbanger party?
All you.
Because if we tell Chase that, he'll already be here. I think we should have a
monocle?
Harvey Wallbanger party.
All you.
Anyway, this video is great. I found it randomly. It only has 358 views, so you're gonna get in on the early stages of this video.
It's not going to get much farther than
And it's by a guy named Mark Buttcabbage.
That's a good name.
I
but
found it by searching for his name again.
It's worth about 358 views. All right, so there seems to be this new college major that's been going on they invented it maybe 5-6 years ago, and
it's called IT.
It's called Get Quadcopters and Make Them Do Something. And people seem to be doing this for like their master's projects. Get some quadcopters, make them do something. Make them do a formation, make them throw.
I'll just say one thing. If quadcopters like kids have today existed when I was at RIT, oh fuck, would I have gotten myself expelled?
Anyway, so this guy, he does something slightly more impressive than what all the other graduate students did with their quadcopters.
Nah.
He basically gets the quadcopter to balance an inverse pendulum, which is also known as a stick. So sort of like when you have a pencil and you hold it on your hand and you keep the pencil upright by moving your hand.
Calling it inverse pendulum is like calling your elbow your bender and anti-bender.
Right. So he gets this, quadcopter to basically balance this inverted pendulum. And then the really impressive part is it throws the inverted pendulum into the air and another quadcopter catches it and balances it. It's pretty insanely awesome. I was literally, usually I'm like, another guy doing something with a quadcopter, but I saw this and I was like, whoa, I am impressed. I will thing of day you. So
play gods.
play good at quadcopter programming.
So, in the meta moment, the book club book was The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. We did a show on it. It's done.
We're never going to talk about it again?
Yep, but suffice it to say, if you didn't read it, you're a terrible person. If you didn't enjoy it and appreciate it, you're also a terrible person.
That's right.
The new book club book is
Player of Games by Ian M. Banks, which is the second book in the Culture series. The first book is optional. I didn't read it. I just started reading book 2, and I guess 2 chapters or whatever. I don't know how many, because I don't think it even has chapter markers, but I didn't need to read the first one to understand the second one. And it's called fucking Player of Games. This book could not be more Geeknights. I don't think there could be a more Geeknights book. It's we probably like Prince of Nothing more, at least judging by what's happened so far.
Yep.
But this is more Geeknights than Prince of Nothing.
I think the phrase would be, it is perhaps in our wheelhouse.
It is our wheelhouse. It is as if, I needed to move somewhere, and I really liked the house I was living in. Then I saw a house that seemed the doorway was the exact shape of my body, and the toilet was the exact shape of my butt.
You realize all I can think of now is that Japanese horror comic about this is my hole, it was made for me, and it's a hole in the shape of a dude and he jumps into it.
That's exactly what this is.
Have you ever read that comic?
No.
I forget what it's called. It's great though.
Other meta moments. The next convention is
PAX East. Oh, shit.
We're enforcing and paneling and gaming.
Yes, we are doing on Saturday or Friday. I already forget. I gotta look at the schedule again. We are doing mastering game mechanics. We are doing practical game theory. We are possibly doing a third yet unnamed event. And they're all in the small tabletop theater for once instead of in the giant normal theaters. So, not gonna say that it's gonna fill, but I'll put it this way.
Please fill it.
When we do panels in the normal rooms, they seat, between 500 and 1,000 people, and a lot of people show up. If history is any indication, this room seats between 50 and 100 people. So we're already 5 times capacity if we get our basic attendance. Guys,
if you are listening to the show, don't show up in the front of the line. Get at the back of the line so that way people who don't know who we are will be at the front of the line.
But
and then
show up at the line anyway.
So that in case the room doesn't fill, you got to pack it in and fill it up.
But also, the reason you should get in line is that because it's not the big normal theater, it's going to be really hard to video it effectively. So unlike every panel we've done up to this point, there's a good chance there won't be good video and audio of the presentation.
Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out.
And because it's a smaller room, we might do it more classroom style.
Yep.
Which is going to be pretty awesome, so I'm cool with that.
Yep.
Kineticon, submit your goddamn panels. I am actually scheduling panels. Every minute that goes by that you don't submit your panel, you are less likely to get a good slot.
Or a slot at all.
Yes, we already have more panels than we need. I could fill the entire schedule.
But some of those panels, not good.
I would like more panels.
We would like another panel that is better than them to kick their asses out. Because we really don't want to have 10 Homestuck panels, right? 1 is enough, probably.
Anime Boston, I don't think anyone's heard back from Lou yet, but I assume we'll be there.
Yeah, in April.
Yep,
Late
and
April.
we will be doing between 3 and 6 panels.
Some number of panels.
And, I don't know, PAX Australia, all that other stuff kind of down the road. PAX Prime, PAX Dev, PAX East 2014.
Yeah. Any other meta things? Oh, of course. This week, right? At the end of this week, we will begin the first ever FRC Gaming Grand Prix. I'm not going to go over all the info again. I'm just going to say that number 1, it is a competition in games of skill that is accessible to all peoples capable of listening to a podcast.
So what about people who are blind and have no arms or legs?
They might have a hard time, but they might also be able to play, depending.
Coconut monkey.
Yes. But yeah, everyone who listens to the show and anyone on the whole internet can participate. We're going to find out who is the strongest gaming listener through a series of point-scoring game rounds. All of the info is on the website. If you want to join, you have to read the forum post and then, join the forum if you're not already in there.
So just to make a point.
And all the instructions will be there.
You can't really say it's the best overall gamer because you're really constrained by the types of games you can pick with your accessibility. So if anything,
I have already selected many games and it is covering a wide variety.
All right. So I'm just curious, are rhythm games represented?
Yes.
All right.
In a sense.
Are games of physical exertion represented?
No.
Okay,
because
so
there might be someone with no goddamn legs.
Okay, so this doesn't test people who are good at, for example, sports.
It is not a sport test. It is only a skill game test.
But many sports are also games of skill.
Many are, but we are not testing those. We are testing the video and tabletop games.
All right. Are you going to require people to perhaps pirate old NES games?
That may be a requirement if they do not have some other means of playing them, such as Virtual Console, an actual old NES, a DS with a piracy card, or any other number of ways to play many games.
Is Advance Wars one of the games?
Advance Wars is not one of the games.
Oh, come on.
Nor will it be.
Come on.
No.
Kaboom?
No.
But there's Atari emulators. Are there any Atari games represented?
The problem with representing Kaboom, considered a similar Kaboom game, is that people do not have paddles, and this would exclude all non-paddle owners.
Is QWOP one of the games?
QWOP was a thought that crossed my mind.
Because I'm good at QWOP
but
now.
It is not QWOP. QWOP is not a game, and this will end the guessing portion of our program and proceed to the Geeknights portion.
So, I have been waiting. I'm not even joking. This isn't hyperbole by any stretch. I've been waiting for augmented reality since I was 4 or 5 years old.
I've been waiting for augmented reality since I was -10.
Yeah, so that's hyperbole. No, seriously, my parents were gamers. I was born to a family that was
This is
playing
not
the
a
Atari.
hyperbole or a joke or an exaggeration. When I was in the womb, my mom was playing Super Breakout.
In fact, my mom tells stories of she couldn't lean over towards the end of her pregnancy with me, so remember the Atari 2600 has those top switches.
Yep.
She would reach over with her foot to reset the game.
What game was she playing?
She was playing Outlaw, Breakout, Dig Dug.
So me and Rim, we had this cutie mark Sonic Rainboom Destiny as our moms were playing Breakout, turning us into Rim and Scott.
Yep. Now my mom also had the Intellivision.
Actually, my mom only played Super Breakout.
My
the one with the
grandma
spaceman on
actually
it.
kept the Intellivision, and she played Burger Time my entire life.
Okay.
So as soon as I was old enough to kind of recognize the world existed, I was already playing. Like I like, you know, Scott had his anecdote. He became sentient in the course of color, or one day he realized color inside the lines.
Everyone kept saying color inside the lines, but I kept not doing it until one day it was like, oh.
My moment like that
In the lines.
was playing the Atari. I was playing, I think Kaboom. No, it wasn't Kaboom. I don't even remember what game it was. I was playing the Atari, just kind of fucking around, and suddenly I'm like, oh, I want that score to go up.
Mine was I was playing shitty Atari Pac-Man, and I was like, oh, Pac-Man's supposed to eat all the dots. All of them. Oh, I'm just walking around.
So shortly after that time, I had to get glasses because, you know, I've got fucking broken eyes.
I didn't have that problem.
And as soon as I got my glasses, the first thing I thought was, why can't I have a heads-up display like fighter jets have in my glasses? I asked my parents, and they said that's not a thing. And I was really pissed off. And I have fantasized and dreamed about having a heads-up display in my glasses for almost my entire life.
I've generally fantasized about some sort of, you know, actual cyberpunk future ever since reading
Shadowrun rules?
Actually, you know, I didn't see Ghost in the Shell till like high school, early-ish, right? So I'm going to have to say reading Spider-Man 2099 when I was in middle school, which is totally in the cyberpunk universe and has all sorts of shit like that.
I learned about cyberpunk when I picked up at the role-playing game store when I was buying some Dungeons and Dragons crap. I was like, Shadowrun?
In fact, you know what? I think
What's
I'm going to
that? And I pull out Shadowrun and I flip it open. I'm like, wait a minute, computer hackers and dragons in the same game? What? What is this? And I bought it. And
I should reread Spider-Man 2099. If people don't know, that was pretty much the comic book I grew up with. Like, I would go to the comic book store and I would buy 2 comics, Spider-Man 2099 and Adjectiveless X-Men, and those are my 2 books. Spider-Man 2099 is so good. People don't know.
I was more adjectived X-Men, like uncanny.
Yeah, I read the Adjectiveless. But yeah, you should read, if you can get, I think there's a trade now you can get. It's a really good cyberpunk book. You know, the guy, if you read that, you will say, oh, I see why Scott likes this book.
Anyway, the point is that we've both been waiting for augmented reality, cybernetic eyes, all those things.
Anything.
Forever.
The
As
only
long as we've
difference
existed.
between me and Rim is that Rim is first in line for, you know, replacement body parts, where I'm like, second in line.
I'm not first in line for brain.
I'll watch the first guy get the robot body, and if that works out, I'll get a robot body. If I hear screams, I'll let another guy go in front of me in line, and I'll let people have cuts until it goes well.
I'm mostly holding out for robot knees, robot hip, robot eyeballs, robot teeth.
I just want to have, maybe I can get
Because those are the parts of my body that are most likely to break before my brain breaks.
I'll take the robot teeth. Robot eyes are not bad necessarily, but I don't really.
They have to look like Bato eyes.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Or they could be like demon eyes. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
like
mostly it's
red.
like, you know, when my shit's working pretty well right now, but, you know, if I had some robot arms, I bet I could do push-ups.
So the reason we bring this up now is that I've realized something kind of surprising in the last week, because I hope you realize, it's all we've been talking about for a while now, at least in our normal lives, that Google Glass has been, you know, on the horizon for a long time. We've kind of foreseen this coming.
And now it's really close.
So now they have announced that if you submit an application, a 50-word essay, up to 5 photos and up to 15 seconds of video, they're going to select 8,000 people who aren't Google employees to get access
To be in the Explorer program.
to have the privilege of paying $1,500 for Google Glass and get access to it in the really near future.
As in weeks, if not a month or two.
Yeah, they're
like
gonna-
I could have it by packs.
I think there's only 2 more days left in the applications. Like,
That's
it's moving
correct.
quick.
Yep.
I saw the announcement. I went home that night and started editing my video together.
I did the same thing. I submitted a quick and dirty one, and then I went and put together a really good one, and then that was it. I'm not going to do a third application.
Now, I'm not so much surprised by sour grapes or people who don't understand, like, where this could go and where it could come from and why we're so excited about it. But what I'm surprised by is the lack of vision that most people I talk to have about the potential of augmented reality in general. Not Google Glass specifically, not the immediate physical technology now, but the potential. The idea. I mentioned something in my Tumblr, but like, yeah, why don't I tag my friends so I never lose track of people's names again? And I get a lot of people who responded like, wow, that's an amazing idea.
It's just weird. I always have this weird thing, too, where it's like, I'm somebody who, I know that in order to make it, really successfully, at least depending on how you define that in this world, the key is executing and working for a long time and keep working on stuff. But I'm lazy and I got enough, so I don't do that. But what I do have is fuck tons of ideas. And I just have ideas all over the fucking place. And I see online, there's like people who are like, I got no ideas. And I'm like, what do you mean you got no ideas? They're like, no imagination whatsoever. And it's like, they seem to not. And I can't really, I know for a fact there are people who lack imagination, but I don't grok. Like, what is it like to not have an imagination? What the hell is your brain doing all the time? My brain is coming up with shit and things it wants and imagining things that don't exist.
Now, I wasn't
all the
planning
time.
on going down the road of making all you people feel bad like Scott is.
How am I making people feel bad?
So basically, I threw together this list. I was like, all right, here's 20 in 5 minutes. Like, here's 20 things that'll change the world.
God,
like, crazy
I
crap.
come with 1,000 things.
Yeah, but I came up with 20 just like that. And I realized looking around the internet that when it comes to Google Glass and augmented reality, the vast, overwhelming majority of the discussions are around videoing stuff from the perspective of your eyeball.
It's like I can have a GoPro on my head and do that.
Yeah, it's like that is what most people are fixated on. Like, they don't even, they're looking at the naan and they're thinking, well, I could put Indian food in that. They're not even thinking about the naan taco. They're not even conceiving of putting ham in the
because they
naan.
just watched the video of Google Glass, saw what it already does, and I guess they can't imagine it doing anything else. Whereas I imagine Ghost in the Shell, and it's not even imagining. It's like Ghost in the Shell, Masamune Shiro imagined that shit, and so did the people at Production IG. And I'm just saying, hey, I could have that shit that other guy imagined for reals.
So I made a statement, and a lot of people took surprising umbrage with it, that augmented reality as a concept is going to change the world in the near term. I'm talking in the next 5-10 years, not in the next 30.
Absolutely.
More than the last 10 years of development of the internet.
Maybe.
And I'm pretty confident in that. Augmented reality has potential to radically change social structures in ways that I think a lot of people really aren't grokking.
Pretty much the people who can see the extra world as they walk around are going to be separated from the people who can't.
Well, I mean, imagine...
Even more so. I mean, look at how culturally separated internet people are from not internet people.
Yes, I listened to a conversation on a ski lift where I was trapped with a guy who was quiet and 2 girls.
Mm-hmm.
They were like 25, let's say. They had the most vapid, inane, stereotypical conversation about waterproof mascara and boys you could ever imagine. But in the middle of this, they both have iPhones out the whole time. I don't know what they were doing with them. Mm-hmm. And at one point...
Is there service on the mountain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 4G. It's awesome.
Nice.
And this one girl just stopped. She's like, oh my God, so have you heard of this Harlem Shake thing? Then it was like, no, what is it? And they start talking, and this girl doesn't even know what the Harlem Shake is. She starts describing it, and she's just wrong. She's like, oh my God, it's like this dance that these hockey players did. And then it like spread around the YouTube and it got like 5,000 likes. And now it's like this huge thing all over the world. It's going to be bigger than Psy. And they didn't like, they're talking about a thing. They have in their hands the ability to look up immediately in real time what that thing is. And instead the first girl makes shit up about it. And the second girl believes her because she's never heard of it. If Scott and I have Google Glass on, I say Harlem Shake. Scott's glass is already showing him the Wikipedia
is already
page.
showing, right? And it's reading it into the headphone in my ear.
Yeah, you realize...
And eventually, but hopefully before the time when I am dead, it will insert the information into my brain through some sort of cable into my spine, a la The Matrix. I know Kung Fu.
I mean, already with just smartphones, arguments among people with smartphones are literally, hey, why do cockroaches die upside down? In the old days, we'd debate it for a while and then forget. Or we'd go home and look it up and then have another argument.
Or need to go to a library.
Then the question is asked, everyone pulls out their phone, there's 2 minutes of research, and then we just don't talk anymore because we all looked up the answer.
Yeah, with Google Glass, it's even faster. Someone says cockroach dying, the page already shows up on my eyes. I've already read it while they're talking, and I say, no, and everyone else who has these simultaneously reads the same thing, and we don't need to say anything, and then the one person who doesn't have them is the dumb person.
Yes, you realize the future of augmented reality. I walk into a restaurant, and I look at the menu, and immediately metadata is hovering in front of every menu
I
item
walk
up on the
into
wall.
a restaurant, as I'm walking to it, the menu is on my glasses. The room is being reserved as I'm looking at the menu. I order the food. I walk in. My table has my name digitally floating above my seat. I sit in the seat that already had my name floating above it.
The waiter saw I was on my way and is already standing there to make sure my order was correct.
Right? He sees the name Scott above me and where I'm going to sit. It alerts him that I've arrived. He brings the food to me as I am sitting down. I eat it immediately. I walk out without paying because it's automatically digitally paid when I stand up.
The burger, when it comes out,
he sees in his eyeballs the amount Scott tipped him, and he knows that I'm a good guy, and he says, thanks, Scott, as I leave the restaurant, looking at the map of the way to get back to wherever I'm going.
I'm walking down the street, and if there's someone I know nearby, I see a flag off in the distance showing where they are, if I put them on my list of people I care to see. If I meet a bunch of strangers at a party, all my metadata links up with all my friends' metadata. So if someone's there that Scott knows that I don't, and we share data, their name, I've never met this person, hovers over their head. And the flags that Scott has put on them, like, this is a good guy, this is a douchebag, this is a Randy woo-woo guy. I tag people, he tags people. I know to avoid this guy because Scott's already flagged him as an idiot.
I flag someone, and then when I see someone familiar in another setting, I wonder, is that the same person that I saw in this other context? And I'll have 100% confirmation because they're either...
Glasses, when have I met this person before?
Yep.
Glasses, who is the third person from the left on that panel I'm watching? This is just like the baby stuff.
I go to a convention, the map of the convention I can just see on my glasses, and it'll give me a little Grand Theft Auto arrow showing me to get to the thing that I have chosen to next on my schedule.
I'm playing paintball, and my ammo counter shows up in my HUD like when I'm playing Counter-Strike.
I'm in the gigantic tabletop room, and I can't find my friends. Oh, there they are. I go to this stadium and I want to find my seat. Oh, there it is.
I'm playing poker with my friends. My glasses are on all the time, keeping a perfect count of all the cards that have been shown based on the number of decks that were shuffled, giving me odds of everything calculated from all the information I could possibly see.
I walk up to the casino, they look at me and they see a big skull above my head and don't let me in.
On the off chance that I'm looking at the board and someone leans forward for a second and their cards are visible to glass, it immediately catalogs them and shows me their hand.
Yep.
That might be cheating, but that's what it'll do.
Don't show me your cards, asshole.
Yeah, but that's what it'll do.
I'm playing a game. There aren't even any cards. Me and Rim sit down at an empty table with no dice, no cards, no nothing. We just look at each other. All of the same things appear to us digitally. There's no way he can look at my hand, right? I touch parts of the table. Glass sees where I'm touching and knows what card is supposed to be there or what piece is supposed to be there. And, you know, I can just tell it, okay, I choose captain. And it goes, dee, dee, dee. Which one do you want to sell? The corn. It sells the corn. Ding. I see corns moving around.
I'm in a
Rim
bar
sees
or
the
at a
same
concert,
corns.
and a song starts to play, and it immediately just kind of flashes the name of the song and records a history. Latitude records everywhere I go. This records a history of every song I've ever heard and where I heard it. In case I think back a week later, what was that song I heard at that club? Bam!
I walk around the store looking at products, and the Amazon prices with little A smiley logos next to them are shown hovering above every product in the store. And if I want one of them, I look at it and I say, buy that, and it orders it on Amazon and sends it to my house.
Every non-English word I ever see is immediately translated for me as I look at it.
Okay.
Scott and I are playing a board game. We see sideband communication between each other and can use that to hustle the non-cybernetic douchebags at the table.
Oh, we can see, yeah, like in Ghost in the Shell, right? The secret encrypted communications just between two people.
Yup.
Oh, yeah.
Playing my trumpet, there's sheet music, just scrolling, never have to flip a page again.
And you think, wait a minute, how are they going to communicate? They still have to talk. Well, what if I have eye tracking and Dasher? If you don't know what Dasher is, you should look that up, especially if you have no arms or legs, because it lets you type really quickly if you have no arms or legs.
What if I also have, in addition to all this, a personal cloud where I have a wristwatch that has a screen on it for data input, and I have gloves on that do gestures, and I have a pad in my pocket, and I have a pad on the glass. So I have all these input I/O mechanisms.
You don't need anything but the glass. That's the whole point, though, because if it has a camera, it can see where your hands are and what they're doing. So you don't need gloves, and you don't need a wristwatch, because if you have the glass, you look at your wrist, and look, there's something there on your wrist, even though there isn't actually a watch.
There is a use case for the occasional sort of second-order physical interface. And the example I'll give you, rather than a real-world example, is from Diamond Age. Remember the beginning of Diamond Age?
A book.
The guy who has the forehead gun?
No.
The first guy you meet is the dude with the forehead gun.
Okay.
So they make it clear that he could just control it with a thought. But then it would probably just fire kind of randomly every now and then. So instead, it's tied to a physical action.
Well, yeah, I mean, if something is as important as, say, the nuclear
so he
launch,
says,
you need to have the two keys, no
so
matter
he
how,
says,
right?
tut under his breath to actually fire it, while simultaneously doing the brain trigger. So I could see a situation where you would want a screen on your wrist that you can touch physically.
For my head-mounted gun?
Or something like that. Now imagine this. You have a thing on your wrist, right? That is a physical input device in case you do need fine control of something. But that isn't actually a display. That's just a surface for you to physically touch that also has maybe advanced sensors for fine control, but the display is still overlaid from your glasses.
Google Glass has a touch screen and a touch surface and a button on the side of it. So.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's a case for all these is I/O devices in a cloud around your body. Highly integrated.
Well, the personal area network has been around for a long time, since Bluetooth was invented.
Yes, but it hasn't been terribly
like a decade
effective.
ago. Well, there just haven't been enough devices for that. It's like they've made all this stuff, and they just haven't made enough devices to the Pebble Watch is like the first one, really.
Yeah. Well, I
Before
argue
then,
that
personal area networks are pretty much just wireless Bluetooth headphones, a cell phone, and a laptop.
And I think the problem was just that material science, battery technology, and wireless transmission technology just weren't there yet.
Nope.
We're just at the point where they're there. But the point is that augmented reality, like each one of these things, completely on its own, sounds like something that's a cool toy that is great and really awesome, but doesn't sound individually all that society shattering. They aren't. None of them are by themselves. But the sum of all of them together means that I basically have a new sense. That sense is a constant stream of metadata about everything I am ever interacting with. I will never have in the future, I will never have a question about a thing I'm interacting with again. I mean, in New York City, here's a really common problem. You're walking down the street, you know an address you want to get to. So yeah, maybe you have Google, whatever, but
the numbers on the side of the buildings are not visible often. So I want to go to 223. Where the hell's 223? I know this side of the street is odd. Here's 220, and there's 226.
No, usually it's like, here's 220, the next building is 1. That happens to me a lot.
I don't know where you're going.
A lot of places downtown are
Maybe
like
on
that.
the corners because you're on an
No,
avenue.
in the middle, because for example, there's 60 East 42nd Street. That is also one Grand Central Place. The place augmentation is bullshit. Anyway.
That's right. It's on a corner. It's on 2 streets.
No, it's not on a corner. That's the problem. It's just bullshit. Anyway. So, yeah, I'll just overlay those numbers.
There you go.
Problem solved.
Yep.
But all these things together mean that the people who use augmented reality and double down on it, and especially the people who grow up with it, are going to be more different than people who don't engage with that technology than the current difference between people who use smartphones heavily and people who don't own them. And think about, I mean, you all who have smartphones know people, probably parents, grandparents, who don't have smartphones or maybe not even cell phones.
Maybe not even computers or internet.
Think about how hard it is to communicate with those people. Think about how many things you cannot assume when you talk to them.
And think about, right? See, even if you do have these things, right? Think about Rim's girls on the ski lift. They had iPhones, but they just didn't know how to use them well, right? Well, even though I'm the kind of person where I can learn how to use it really well, having it earlier just means I'll have more practice sooner. I'll be better sooner and farther ahead sooner. You know, and it's like if I had to choose which people I want to be in the same group with, it's the people who are awesome.
It's
not
the
the people who don't know what a Harlem Shake is 3 weeks after it's over already.
I have the entire internet at my disposal, but I also have to physically think I'm going to look that thing up and, you know, go through the motions. And usually I'm not at leisure to do that. I'm walking somewhere. I'm interacting with something else. Just having that information all queued up and having, you know, setting my level of what metadata do I want in different contexts means that it's like I'm a superhuman with a perfect memory.
Mm-hmm.
There is the obvious drawback that if my data stream suddenly becomes unavailable, it's like not having a sense, but I already experienced that when I don't have my cell phone on me.
That's right.
So I think I'll be able to deal with it.
If there's an apocalypse, there's an apocalypse, right? I'm not going to. It's like the dumbest argument people make. Is
Well, the
like,
thing is,
they're like, what if the worst thing happens and you don't have it anymore? It's like, well, I'm doing just fine now without it, and it's like, so because I might lose it, I shouldn't have it while I can. It's like, well, there might not be any more bananas ever, so I shouldn't eat any bananas now.
So here's one thing. You could argue it's possible that someone who has access to technology like this from birth would never actually learn how to remember anything.
Okay.
So then, if their glasses break, they don't know how to get home.
Okay.
That could happen.
It's possible, but I find it unlikely because if you consider something like, you know, if you
in a mid future, I don't see it as being that unlikely.
Here's why I don't see it as likely ever. Right? Look at just the way the human brain works. You play a game like, say, Super Metroid, right? In Super Metroid, they started to introduce the map, right, showing you where you were in the game. Before then, you were lucky if you had a Zelda 1 map, if any map at all, right?
Yep.
But yet, even though you had the map helping you in Super Metroid, you covered this. If you played it without a strategy guide, you covered the same ground over and over again, right? And even with the map, you eventually learned it. You remembered it, even though you had an aid, right, that was teaching you
True,
things.
but what as other things...
Even if you played Mario 3 with a strategy
Scott,
guide...
as other things get similarly automated, so I'm also using the Google car to get everywhere. I don't know my own address, and I never even looked out the window in the Google car.
All right, well, if the Google car is driving you, you're not doing the driving, then yes, you might not know how to get to the place.
Yep, but anyway...
But if you did the driving and had a heads-up display map, sure, you might take a while to remember the directions because the map is helping you, but eventually you won't need the map because you've done it so many times.
But here's the thing, that level of existential argument is never the argument people make. They usually make an argument more along... To use an older analogy, when cell phones first started becoming ubiquitous, the primary complaint against them from people who didn't want them was that they don't want to be able to be gotten a hold of. They don't want to be interrupted on their vacations. Like, they never conceived of the fact that they could turn it off. If I go to the beach and I'm going to go, on the beach, I'll probably turn my glass off. And just lay on the beach.
Until I get one that's installed in me and waterproof and
But
sandproof.
even then, I might say, hey, go into autistic mode for an hour. I'm just going to chill. I don't care if anyone tries to call me.
Yep. How much time do we have left here?
We can talk for a while. The connectedness of people who use augmented reality over the next decade is going to set them increasingly, possibly dangerously apart from everybody else because they'll have so much access to information live in real time that it will be increasingly difficult to... It's not just that you have access to the information, that with an augmented reality that you are using in an integrated fashion with your life, you are experiencing the world in a completely different context from other people. And I think that is what's going to cause the great social change. That suddenly you have two classes of people who are seeing
Well, it's not just two classes. It's like a stretching. You think of it as like a big gray scale, right? Of the classes. When you think of economic classes, usually you think of technological classes. And on the one end is the earliest adopter who has the hottest shit, and the other end is the caveman, right? And you just stretch it out so the technological power and difference between people is so much greater, right? From the highest end person to the lowest end person, right? And then at the same time, the real conflict that we're already seeing for the past 20 years and probably for the next 20 as well is that the people at the highest end and the lowest end
are accelerating away from each other.
But are also equally oppressed because the political power in the world is held by these people sort of in the middle lower end, right? So the people who are at the extreme low are oppressed by their lack of access to the technology, the same way an illiterate person would be oppressed, right? In even today. Yet at the same time, the extremely high tech people are oppressed because the people who are holding governmental and other power in the
have
world
other forms of power that aren't technology power,
and are afraid and don't want to be owned by those people with the high technological power.
Now there is one serious drawback to augmented reality, that it really does just make this digital divide 1,000 times worse.
Yep.
I mean, right now we live in a world where I have a smartphone because I'm fairly well off and, I don't have any economic trouble. And there are smart people who don't have access to that technology. They are less connected to me. I'm less likely to interact with them. They don't have access to this information. They live in a different world. People one step beyond that who have economic hardship, they can't even afford basic necessities, Maslow's pyramid, they're even further removed. And now, among the people who have money and reasonable security and reasonable power and reasonable technology, there is now going to be a divide between the AR people and the non-AR people.
Yeah, and it's weird because like the goal, right? One of the goals of having all this technology is to bring the world together, to have just one people, not these separate countries.
Wait a minute, are you telling me that harsh socioeconomic realities are crushing our democratization utopia?
Right. It's like we're trying to use technology to make it to where all people are people. There's no separate countries, no separate races, no separate nonsense, right? Globalization, where it's just one, people are people, Earth is Earth, the end.
I like a Diamond Age world where there is no physical culture, there's just the idea of mental culture.
But at the same time, we are, if our technology progresses too quickly and isn't equally accessible to all, right, we're going to end up actually separating people. Even if we can bring everyone together in those ways, we'll separate people again into, the advanced technological people who live in cyberspace who might even, get as far over a long period of time to be a separate species, almost. Or
at least the culture
where
will
it's like they don't even recognize that the non-technological people as being the same kind of organism that they are.
Look at the extreme of Ghost in the Shell. People who don't have cyber brains and aren't connected at all are like homeless people are literally invisible to a lot of normal citizens and to a lot of the societal machines. There's a great scene in Ghost in the Shell where there's a bunch of hobos living inside of a factory because the machines don't even see they're there.
Yep. Well, there's also, right, when the Laughing Man hacked everybody so that, all they could see was the Laughing Man icon and not his face.
The hobos are the only ones who can see him.
There were two hobos who saw his actual face because they didn't have any cyber anything.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the hacking side of this because that could be a whole show. But the point is that, yes, it might be silly for someone who doesn't have $1,500 to throw away and who isn't willing to double down on this stuff to pay for it now. I'm not arguing that.
And it might not have actually, I guarantee it won't have even a small percentage of all these things we have imagined.
I mean, if I was
right
in college,
away.
if I was at RIT, at the economic level I was,
Zero
and this came out now,
car.
I could not have gotten Google Glass.
True.
I would have been sad that I didn't have it.
Yep.
But I would not have ruined my life to get the money to get it.
But at the same time, while that is true for me as well, I would not be poo-pooing it. I would be saying, man, I wish I could have that motherfucker.
In fact, I remember saying, totally aside, Google stock, I really wish I could buy some of this right now.
And here's the thing, right? You might say, okay, it'll be buggy. Let's assume worst case scenario, like one feature works and it's crazy buggy.
That feature is video of everything all the time. That's crazy.
It still has more features than nothing It has more than 0. Even if one thing works, that's one thing that people who don't have it don't have.
It's the first.
That is one superpower. It's like, oh no, I don't have Superman's super strength. I only got his laser heat vision.
Well, sometimes that's bad. For example, oh my God, I don't have Wolverine's fast healing factor. I only have his claws.
Still useful if I encounter a can that doesn't want to open.
Yes, once.
Man, it's that kind of, those plastic twisties, they tie stuff into the packaging.
Do you know how many times recently I've gotten a bottle of or not a bottle, but like one of those special packs, like the cardboard Tetra Pak of like guava juice, and I pull on the tab, and the tab comes off and it's still sealed?
I hate that shit.
Oh my God, that's first world problems.
Yeah, but
the point is that yes, it's not going to be perfect. I perfectly understand.
And here's the other thing, right? Is even though it won't be perfect, remember, these days, some people seem to have a hang up about, it's still beta, it's testing, it's not the real deal.
So is Google Gmail.
Yeah, there is no such thing. Everything these days, there is no, when something is done is arbitrary, right?
Scott, you know what you could say right now? Measure is unceasing.
Exactly. Everything these days is done by incremental development, right? You put it out and it gets updates and updates and updates constantly. Look at Steam. It updates every other week. Is Steam in beta? No. But
look at Java and Adobe. They update every other day.
Nothing is ever done. Because of software updates, things come out.
Well, no, you know what is done? You know what is done? Non-Samsung Android devices.
Yeah, but I mean, they just get updated constantly.
Well,
even
the
though
point is that non-Samsung Android devices don't.
The Google Glass you get on the first day is going to be poop compared to the exact same thing if you just hold on to it for a few months. It's just going to keep getting better just as you use it all the time. Everything just keeps getting better constantly. So better to have it earlier than later.
So in the immediate
you can always
term,
upgrade. I used to have an iPhone 3G. Oh no, now I have an iPhone 5.
So let's look at it now. In the immediate term, as in, say I get selected and Scott gets selected, and we have these next week. Out of the box, anytime crazy shit happens on anywhere in my life, I've got a Russian dash cam of it.
Yep.
So already that's awesome. That's not $1,500 awesome, but that's awesome.
No.
Already,
I don't have to. I'm not going to get much better pictures of things because I'm not going to be too late because I had to get a camera or my phone out of my pocket.
Yep. Already, I'm going to have a HUD of Google Map when I walk out of the subway and I'm at an unfamiliar station. I don't know which way is north right away.
Or when I'm biking in a weird place.
I
don't have to stop and get my phone out.
Yeah,
I can just keep
seriously,
biking.
guys, if you've never biked a long distance, you still need navigation, especially if you're taking a complicated route. Mounting your phone on your bike sucks ass.
Yep.
And if you think it's dangerous to keep looking at your map while you're driving, yeah, biking is a little worse. So I'm going to have a HUD of my Google directions. It already does that. It already does that.
I can Google search without having to get my phone out of my pocket. I can just say,
Google goggles.
I can just be like, okay, Glass, search for upside down cockroaches.
Google goggles, the reverse image shirts, like look up what this thing is. That's a thing that already works. Now it's just going to be integrated with my glasses. I'm going to use it a lot more often. And two, part of being an explorer is, getting access to the SDKs and actually trying to write software for this shit.
Yep.
And you know what? If no one else does it, what my project's going to be, it's so simple. It's so easy. I can write software to do this. I just want to take a PowerPoint and see my slide previews and my talking points and the time left in my HUD.
Also, you know what this also already does? Google Hangout, where the person sees what you're looking at in the Hangout and you see their face or what they're looking at if they have glass.
Yeah?
That's already on its own slowly, right? And that's what it does now, today. Oh, shit.
Yeah. So I am doubling down on this because I am in a situation in my life where $1,500 is not a significant hardship. If $1,500 were a significant hardship to me, I probably would wait until they were generally available.
They'd probably still be $1,500.
They may not be. The thing is, it's hard to say because the people who are saying they're going to be $300, I don't think that's
not
true.
for a few years.
Yeah.
I mean, iPhones aren't even $300.
An unsubsidized
people don't realize,
Android phone is $600.
An unsubsidized iPhone 5 is like $800, right? Forget it. You need a lot of monies.
But mark my words, augmented reality is going to take the people who use it over the next 5 and 10 years to a surprising level of connectedness that is going to leave everyone else behind. And society is going to start changing in really weird ways because it's like a diffuse brain injury. Some people are moving faster than others. So suddenly within individual families and individual communities, I mean, imagine this future. I'm walking down the street, and this is a future of 3 years from now. Yelp reviews are just kind of popping up over restaurants I look at. The one restaurant that isn't on Yelp, I don't even see it. I don't even know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, what's that building? I don't know. There's no name over it. Why would I even look there?
Yep.
Or the secret theater shows up out of nowhere, a thing that doesn't even exist except occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited about this future.
Or, there could be just a door on the side of the street that looks like a maintenance door, but anyone with glass can see what it really is.
Yeah, imagine
hidden arcade of awesome.
We're talking about adults like us who want to use this stuff. Imagine being in middle school and having access to this shit.
Everyone's drawn penises in the teacher's face, but the teacher's all old and fuddy-duddy. They don't notice.
And they try to ban glass in the classroom, and they probably will. I mean, when I went to high school, you couldn't bring a cell phone to school.
You can't now either.
No, a lot of people can bring them to school and they have to keep them in their lockers.
There's
now.
a truck outside of the school downtown where if you're a kid, you go to the truck and give them like a few bucks every day. They hold on to your phone and you pick up the phone from the truck after school. It's like a private business that just realized kids had this problem.
Yep. Now, see, that's a problem. So schools don't let kids have cell phones in an era where that level of connectedness is a big deal.
Yeah, it's like saying, all right, people, we need to teach you how to get by and get jobs and live in this 21st century society by coming to this school where you may only caveman. Here is how you hit with club. All right, now go back to your normal everyday lives.
It's already like that in every other realm. Social studies. Hey, let's learn about democracy and freedom of speech. Oh, you can't write that article about the principal in the school paper, and you don't get to vote on whether or not we have a school uniform.
Yeah. The hypocrisy.
Yep.
We don't want justice, we want quiet.
The thing is, I can feel occasionally my brain, I'll be at like an anime con, and some kid's like, ee! And a part of my brain is like, shut up. But then another part of my brain is like, you know what? I don't care. Just don't care.
Hey, if I had Google Glass, I'd just be like, I would see who that was. I would give them a thumbs down, and then they would be muted. And
or
I
a
wouldn't
thumbs
hear
up,
them.
depending on what they're doing.
Yeah, they'd be muted. I wouldn't hear them anymore.
Yeah. But our society is going to change in surprising, sometimes dangerous ways. And augmented reality is going to rapidly, faster than any of you think is going to happen, drive this.
And the thing is, if you're not in it, it's just more dangerous for you to not be in it. Right? Than to be in it if you are able. If you're able, you really just need to get on it. Otherwise, it's only going to hurt you.
In fact,
if people are looking at each other and smiling, and meanwhile, your face has poo-poo on it, and they're making fun of you, and you don't even know this is going on.
There was a recent, relatively recent anime.
That's the lightest example.
That Scott should watch, I should watch. I've only seen a little bit of it, but it's been highly recommended. It's called Den-O Coil. Mm-hmm. And it's basically set in a...
Well, that's more Pokemons.
Oh,
hey,
yeah, but yes.
I should program fucking Google Glass Pokemon.
Yeah, Sea King following you around, hanging out.
You walking down the street and you just see a Bulbasaur hanging out behind that dumpster.
Well, that's the plot of this anime. The anime is a really kind of realistic look at, imagine a world where kids grow up with augmented reality. So every kid has his pet Pokemon, and all the kids see this shared reality that no adult sees.
Yep.
Adults can't interact with that. And how different those kids are culturally from the people who don't see these things, and how that changes their fundamental interaction, their fundamental socialization. Mm-hmm. I think shows like that are a vast understatement of how much things are going to change with augmented reality.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get in on as ground floor as I possibly can.
Geeknights Mondays might turn into the augmented reality show once we get these, if we get them.
Well, I mean, eventually, who wants a podcast, right? We'll just sort of look at each other, and everyone else who's cool will just sort of know what's up, and then that's it.
I do suspect, here's one thing I think, because I watched current Google Glass, you can kind of look up. Like, it's not a complete overlay.
No, it's basically in the top right corner, a little rectangle.
So, I suspect all of us who use them heavily are going to have a tick when we're not wearing them, where we're constantly just looking up to the left, up to the left,
I think it's up to the right.
Wherever it is, we're going to be looking up.
Yep.
Up to the left. It is up to the left.
I thought it's up to the right.
No, take these glasses I'm looking at and rotate them.
Why would you rotate them?
I don't know. Oh, no, it's inverted because this part's blurry and that part's not. It's like a tilt shift. Anyway,
I think you need to go to the eye doctor before you go to get the Google Glass.
actually, when I was looking at mock-ups of if you mount them onto existing glasses, you can mount you can get one for either side.
Yeah, one thing I'm worried about is I'm a person who doesn't wear glasses, but I wear sunglasses often.
You're gonna lose them immediately.
So I need to put them on with sunglasses, take the sunglasses off, leave the Google Glass on, and then put the Google Glass on with the sunglasses without the sunglasses.
Scott, welcome to the last 20 years of my life.
But now I'm double glasses and switching.
Yeah, Scott, double glasses. That's what I have. I have to take off my regular glasses and put on my sunglasses.
But this is the thing that goes with the glasses. So I'll snap the Google Glass off of the sunglasses, put it on by itself, then snap it onto the sunglasses and put them both on, and it's whatever.
Anyway, we'll see. I reek of effort in my attempts to get these. I put a lot of work and thought into my application, as did Scott. This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geek Nights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geek Nights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.
It's Monday, February 25th, 2013. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights tonight. Because of all you haters, we're talking about augmented reality in light of Google Glass and a super long intro bit just to make Scott mad.
I was about to comment on the super long intro bit, and now I'm making it longer. Let's do this.
You know, Scott, what they say, if you wrestle with a pig, you only make the pig happy and you get just as muddy.
I think what they say is, if you let Rim know the thing he does that bothers you, he will do it nonstop.
But it's a catch-22. For if you do not let me know that it bothers you, then I will keep doing it because that's what I do. And if you let me know, I'll keep doing it because that's what I do.
But you'll do it in a more goading fashion.
So in fact, the more you express disdain or criticism for a thing I do that you don't like, the more I'll do it. If you just never complain, I'll still do it, but at a baseline manageable level.
There's only one solution. Instead of letting Rim know that the thing bothers you, you must do something that bothers him whenever he does something that bothers you.
Except the only thing you ever do that I can even think of.
And eventually you can reverse Pavlov's dog him.
The best thing I've ever had Scott do is whenever we're ready to start like a video or a show or anything, he'll just sit there going like, bop, 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 bop. So I don't have a clean start, then I have to do some editing bullshit when we actually...
No.
It's too late, we're already recording.
It doesn't matter.
So I went skiing over the weekend, and I feel like I'm stepping up my ski game to a big degree. But I saw something kind of funny. So you saw that South Park episode about ziplining, right?
Yep.
You ever been ziplining?
I mean, yeah, but not like that, super ziplining, but like normal, like, oh, there's one zip line. I went down it.
Okay, so, but basically, like, I went ziplining with Emily in Costa Rica, but that was awesome because that was basically the only way to go through the rainforest and see all the inside. Very proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I'm just tooting my own horn. I was waiting for you to jump in with your own opening bit anecdote for today.
Well, I just wanted to let everyone, fully bask in how full of yourself you are. So,
you wanna bask?
Your opening bit was basically, I am so great.
I am.
Okay.
More importantly, do any of you listeners live in this area and want to go ski with me?
So at work today, some coworkers were talking. I wasn't really paying attention, but a guy said non-burrito, and I was like,
Wait, non-burrito? Like not a burrito?
Non as in the bread you get at an Indian restaurant. And I was like, hey, That sounds pretty good. You think I could put my leftover taco meat, which I have in the fridge right now, inside of a naan? Because I could just go down to Roti Boti and get a fresh naan.
Now, I am quite the advocate of breaking the shackles of expected uses of food.
Right, so they were like, no, naan burritos when you put Indian food in the naan and then roll it up like a burrito. And I was like, oh.
You know, that's a great analogy for the topic of the show, because think about it. They came up with a great concept, use naan in a non-standard format. Get it? Non-standard?
I think that they were discussing a place that actually served the Indian food in the naan as in burrito
So like an
fashion.
Indian banh mi.
I don't know, but anyway, it was called a naan burrito wherever they got it from. So, but they didn't get it here. They're talking about having it somewhere else, and I was like, man, should I just put my taco meat in a naan? And they were like, no, you shouldn't do that.
But see, that's the thing. They recognize the potential utility of naan.
Yep.
But yet they cannot break outside of the naan box.
I'm gonna have to buy a bag of cheese.
They
though, at
cannot
the grocery.
imagine far forward enough. They're like, yeah, what if I take the naan and I put the Indian food in it, like a quesadilla, but Indian? That'll be awesome. And then you suggest, why don't I just put something else? They're like, no, you haven't played God.
You haven't played gods. Well, I don't know if I am gonna play gods, because the thing is, I'll probably do that eventually, but I don't know if I'll do it tonight, and only for one reason.
I've never successfully reheated a naan, for what it's worth.
Okay, is because I bought this package of corn tortillas, the little ones.
And you got to use them up.
I got to use them up, but the thing is, they fucking suck. Like, they fell apart. I heated them up, and I put the meat in them, and then boop, the meat went straight through.
I have a policy.
I might have to double them up.
I, in my life, have a policy now on corn tortillas.
Yep.
So my policy is I will only use a corn tortilla in something I'm cooking if I fry it in a pan. I'm not just going to steam it or heat it up. I'm either going to fry it or I'm using flour.
Listen, I would have wanted to buy flour ones. They didn't have any of the ones I wanted.
What? What kind of jank-ass grocery store are you going
to?
to?
The one next to my house.
I mean, I had a problem buying stuff yesterday, but at least what I was trying to buy was weird. I was trying to buy vegan cream cheese, and let me tell you.
Why did you want vegan cream cheese?
Don't ask.
Okay.
It is not easy to find.
What is even in vegan cream cheese?
You know what?
Cream.
I did not know.
Or cheese.
I was partially curious as I asked to the manager of this grocery store, excuse me, do you carry vegan cream cheese? My mind immediately said, how could such a thing be? And the manager's like, vegan cream cheese?
Is it just called hummus? I mean, what would you call it? Right?
So it exists.
Okay.
And we acquired some, but not at the grocery store.
What's it made of?
As far as I can tell, oils.
It's
of
just
various
oil.
kinds.
Okay.
Anyway.
So it's margarine.
It's more like, I haven't even looked at it yet, but
It's
it came in a weird
margarine?
box.
I mean,
but at
with
least
sugar
that's,
in it?
At least that is weird. Flour tortillas are in like the key food in Beacon.
They're in, the Key Food always has everything, but I was trying to go to the C-Town next to my house. Anyway, so yeah.
But they have corn tortillas, but not flour. I feel like in America, more people eat
they've
flour
had them
tortillas.
before. They just didn't sell them. They didn't have them in stock at that moment, and they had so many corn ones.
Actually, guys, there's a thread in our forum about moving to New York City. That's one thing you really need to realize if you move here. If you live anywhere else in the country, go to a grocery store, the idea that they're out of something is crazy. It's like, what do you mean they're out of milk? But yet in New York, I mean, grocery stores sell out.
Right, they're not. There's no supermarket that has everything, right? You're going to a regular grocery.
It only has like
super.
30 gallons of milk. If someone buys a bunch, there just isn't any till the next day.
Yeah, they get deliveries so often. They're not giant mega groceries that have trucks full of food showing up every day, and each individual one doesn't have enough customer, so that's how it goes. All right.
News.
So there was this guy in Australia. His name was Super DAE.
Oh, is that the guy who hacked the encryption key on the PS3?
No.
Okay.
That was that's another guy who is going to school at CMU.
Is that the guy that Totilo just wrote an article about?
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about a different guy.
Yeah. The guy who Totilo wrote an article about is the guy I'm talking about.
Okay, so then I mistook the guy he wrote an article about with a different guy.
That's right.
Okay.
The guy he wrote the article about is Super DAE, Australian guy, and what he did is
is his name Super DAE Australian guy? All one word?
I think his actual name does start with a D. It's in the article.
No, but is
somewhere.
Australian guy in his name?
No.
Because you didn't make that clear.
No, it's not.
This is why the Oxford comma is anyway.
But anyway, this guy basically, quote unquote, hacked various video game companies. Oh, Dylan's his name. So Dylan, that's easier to remember than Super DAE. Of course, like I remembered Super DAE first. He hacked into, like Epic, the Gears of War company, and Microsoft, and the exact extent of his hacking is unclear, and the methods of his hacking. I hate calling it hacking when all it is you got someone's password. And it seems like he basically got people's passwords or email accounts who work at these places.
Well, you know what we need? We need
and
a
was
level...
able to log into various systems, including the system that lets you just buy dev kits, right? Because imagine if you work at some company that makes Xbox games. There's a website you can go to buy Xbox development hardware and software that you have to log into after you become a registered official Microsoft Xbox developer and sign an NDA and all these contracts. They give you a login on that site. Since he hacked into or got, login credentials from the video game developers networks, he was able to get that other information, and he just had like Xbox and PlayStation dev kits sent to his house. Just bought them. And, the exact extent of what he was able to do is not clear. It doesn't seem like he was evil, and it seems like some of the companies even, liked him for just telling them how...
business without hurting anything. So that was just like crazy and awesome. But ziplining pretty much anywhere else is exactly like that South Park episode. It's just stupid. So at Hunter Mountain, where I go skiing every weekend, they have zipline tours. I can't imagine those people terribly appreciated that South Park episode. I actually would expect that it hurt their business at least a little. But I was standing in line to go up the big lift up to the top of the mountain, and they stop it because 6 zipliners are going to take the lift up to do their ziplining thing on the ski mountain. So they stop the lift because you can't get on a lift that's moving unless you're in skis or something. And these guys walk over and they sit down. What I saw that was interesting was that 5 out of 6 of them had GoPros.
Okay.
In fact, I would say that a full quarter of the people skiing had a GoPro on them, and easily a third of those people had the newest GoPro. If GoPro sold stock, I would buy all of it.
I don't know why they didn't sell it before when I had that idea months ago.
I know exactly why. Because it sucks to be a public company in the modern world. If I own a company, I will never go public.
But it's such a no-brainer to make mad money for me without having to do any work. Just buy GoPro stock.
Exactly. Thus the problem. It does not help them. It gives them a pile of money and a pile of obligations.
Dude, with that pile of money, they can come out with like an even crazier GoPro that would be so insanely good.
That's, in my opinion, that's what's wrong with our entire economy right now. If I have a company, like a video game company, and I make enough money to pay all my employees really well and keep doing what I'm doing and maybe do some things that I want to do that won't be profitable, that's all I want. I don't need more. I'd be happy to have a video game studio that could pay everyone enough to live in New York and have reasonable vacation time. That's all I want. But yeah, I skied, leveled up. I'm feeling good. They told me I have to take this one kind of special lesson, and they were very clear. The instructor was like, look, you've kind of hit the top of how these sort of group lessons go. So come back and tell them you need this. And she handed me a piece of paper and wrote a thing on it. And she's like, if you ski every weekend for the rest of the year and you come back and ask for that lesson, you will be a semi-professional skier. And I was